The publishing industry is really, really rough, and it's really, really tough to make money. Silver Empire was actually a great indie press that was a good group run by Christians who I really loved, and I thought they were doing beautiful work. I first heard of them when they started a short story subscription service because in fantasy and science fiction, the short story market's really been difficult these days. And they were trying to get this subscription service going so that they could continue to just publish things with that because, again, it just doesn't make money to sell short fiction. And they started a full publishing company. They had a ton of books out. And Russell Newquist now has actually gone and pulled the mask off and shown exactly by the numbers how hard it is to be an indie publisher, which I really love. So this is pretty interesting stuff, guys. And again, they went out of business. This is common across the industry right now over the last several years. Tough to be publishers, and that in a big part of the problem is authors don't really need publishers that much. I mean, that's the tough thing at this point as well. Now, these guys actually did a little more than most. Most publishers do not even advertise, do not market or whatever. Russell actually put in a lot of back-end work to make these books sell, which made him a little different than most publishers, which is why I really respected the guy. I actually had my book series with him but until this was went under, unfortunately. And then we ended up doing it ourselves. And as you can see, pretty good today. I'm pretty excited. We're back in the top 5 for bestsellers of Christian science fiction here. Justified, Saga of the Nano Templar, number 5. It's on sale just this weekend. So if you like science fiction, some good Christian stuff, if you like just a lot of action adventure, you're really going to enjoy this. If you're not a Christian, you will enjoy this too. Trust me on this. I'm writing good books for you guys. I like being next to C.S. Lewis here. That's pretty exciting stuff. So this is in the description below, guys. Grab Justified. Read it today. Space crusading. Super fun. This is exactly what you've been looking for out of publishing for a long, long time, and I appreciate you guys being here. So grab that, 99 cents, and let's get into what's going on here. So this is what he says. He's talking about at the beginning of the Substack, and this is his work, War Demons. Great book, by the way. Russell's a fantastic writer as well. And this is what he was doing with his publishing company. So he's telling a bit about Silver Empire because there was a lot of problems that were going on that just didn't work out, and this is the big one, bringing receipts right here. So he says, as I mentioned in the first post, I'm not the best-selling author ever, nor were we the most successful publisher ever, but we did meet some middling level of success. And by the way, middling level of success means top 10%. This is how hard it is to be in the book industry because top 10% is the only thing that even generates revenue and is profitable at all. And so the bottom 90% is making nothing. You got to understand that's how ridiculous it is. It's difficult business to be out there. These screen caps are from my Amazon KDP. Shows Silver Empire's lifetime of sales. He sold 60,000 books across 90 books. Pretty good stuff. So I'm about that. I'm close to that same level. I think I for Steam and Country has sold 30,000 copies at this point. The Stars and Twines move around 10,000 copies, and I think Justified's moved around 8,000 or 9,000 copies. So I'm around the same thing with just my books. But he did this for a full publisher for a bunch of books himself. Pretty cool stuff on that level. And actually Justified was one of his best sellers, which I appreciate. Really cool stuff. Now, it's worth noting that Amazon was not our only sales platform during the life of the company. We've tried pretty much anything else, but they didn't really sell that much on other things. Did a lot of experimentation. He says he won't put those here because Amazon was by far our biggest source of sales. Over 90% of units sold, and that's true for me too. People are always like, well, I want to get it on a different platform. I do have a web store. You can get it directly from my web store if you like to buy my books that way. But Amazon's the way to go for an author for sure. And so as you can see, what they made off of this was this is interesting. Amazon got them about $66,000 out of the $90,000 they pulled in revenue-wise total. And that's pretty interesting. So there's a lot of lessons to be learned, as he said, and don't put all your eggs in the Amazon basket. It's not all that clear that that's actually the right lesson here. So by the numbers, 65 to 70K books actually moved 3.8 million Kindle Unlimited page reads, and roughly 90,000 gross revenue over 7 years. And so that looks pretty good. That looks like a pretty solid career, but unfortunately 90,000 over 7 years, guys, is not that much. I mean, you were talking $12,000 a year. You can't live off of that, of course, anywhere. Maybe in South America. On one hand, many indie authors would kill for those kind of numbers, that's the deal. Many indie authors would, even spread over a few dozen books. When you're struggling to sell even a few dozen books, those are great numbers, and that's where most people are at. I talk to authors every day. They can't even move 100 units. It's really, really tough out there. The competition's really stiff, and there's so many people with books out there. It's a lot these days. And so that's a lot, and there are expenses for all this. Don't forget, a publisher's running editors, a publisher's running covers, they're running Amazon ads and the like, and so that $12,000 evaporates very, very quickly. So pretty interesting. 17 books that grossed each over $1,000. I was one of those. 5 that grossed over $4,000. I was one of those. Just from Amazon sales. Keep in mind that only about half of the gross revenue of each title, and so there are lessons. Learn from both profitable and unprofitable books. I want to share those over you. So that's pretty interesting right there. So you can see these type of numbers, even selling this type of stuff, 60,000 books, $90,000 in revenue is not enough to keep a publisher in business. That's how difficult things are these days, and that's where it's at. Now, it is quite the hard market, like I said, and this is a really tragic loss that we lost Silver Empire, because not only, of course, did they have they had their short fiction platform, like I said, they had another service that was like a credit subscription service. He really worked really, really hard to do all these cool infrastructure things that I really wish would have worked. Now, part of the problem for being an indie small press at this point is you're at a catch-22 as a publisher. And this is a lot of people ask me, why won't you start your own publishing company, publish some people? And here's the problem. If most of the people, 90% of the people who would want me to publish them they don't have a following. They're not going to sell books. Probably the majority of them are not to the quality where it would be even that exciting to begin with, and then there's the 10% that might actually break even or close to that, or still probably don't have followings. And that's why I don't do it, because I'd be putting in all this work for stuff for not much movement. And all it would do is probably cannibalize my own book sales. And so that's why there's not much of an incentive to start a publishing house on this. I get asked this at least 3-4 times a week. Why won't you start a publisher? Will you publish me, etc.? It's quite a bit with this size of fan base at this point. And, definitely tempted at points. I actually had a dream last night that I was starting a short science fiction magazine that was going to run monthly to do things. And gosh, guys, that would be a nightmare, and it wouldn't make money. As much as there's a few people who would be very, very excited about that, a few people being very, very excited about that's not enough to make things go. It's really hard enough, like I said, to keep generating sales just for my own author stuff. And so this is really, really sad that this is the case, and this is where it's at with the industry. But if Russell's the person who's doing all this infrastructure stuff in the background, he had the problem where most authors who signed up with him were not sellers who did not have their own followings and were not able to get things going. The people who could get things going were him for himself, of course. Was Dan Humphreys was another one who excellent author. Declan Finn, who's another one who's an excellent author, and myself. And it's all because we kind of had our own followings already. And so people who have their own followings already don't really need a publisher so much, because myself, it's at this juncture, I'm okay, what can you do? And I actually talked to a bigger publisher earlier this year, and I asked the guy directly. I said, what can you do for me? Because this is going to sell. It's going to my next book that's coming out. It's going to make money. All my stuff has. And so this one actually is pretty catered towards my audience too. Is there anything you can do to get this to a different audience, and so I can compound sales? I'd entertain that. And the answer was no. He frankly told me there's really nothing I could do that you can't do yourself. You've already got the cover, you've already got your editors, and they don't really do that much marketing. Like I said, Russell was an outlier on that. So publishers really, for the most part, unless it's they're trying to bring somebody up and develop them to discover them themselves, which is really, really hard to do, are not able to get authors who actually already sell themselves unless they're got something they can do for the authors, Bain Books could get you in bookstores or something at the bigger level. Perhaps something like that might be appealing to somebody, not myself, but some people. But some people want some things out of that, like publishers. But again, you're in a catch-22. So it just doesn't work as a publisher, especially as a small publisher these days. And this is just really, really sad as we're watching this and just showing exactly what he did and how much he sold, because it sounds like a lot, but then you kind of break things down incrementally. It doesn't work out very well. And that's the publishing industry news for the day, guys. Really appreciate you being here. hope that was helpful as to why it doesn't make sense to have a small press to do this kind of thing. Short fiction sells even less. That's just the rules of the road on Amazon. So, if you want to do things now, it's make a series, do it yourself, have a pretty cover, and then it goes. And that's the way to go forward, and that's what we've done here. So hope that was helpful for you guys. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Join us here as we talk about all things in publishing. This is my book, Justified, guys, and I appreciate you guys making us all the way up to number 5 in the Christian fiction category there. It is in the description below. You can grab this today. It's on sale for a couple more days, and then it'll be back to normal price, so don't wait on this. Thanks for being here. We'll be back soon.